Hi, hello, welcome back. Or hello if you visited me for the first time. I hope you stay. My name is Pell, and what I do is to react to lots of silly videos and Reddit posts because it's my guilty pleasure, really. I like to watch YouTubers doing exactly the same. So I thought, why not? I'd like to do the same thing because I always give unsolicited advice to anyone on my opinion, even without being asked. So here we are. But if you know me already, you probably notice a new space we are in. And this is my new studio, and I'll be recording from here from now on. Bear with us, because probably I'll find later on during the editing there are some problems with the lighting, maybe my audio is not the best, maybe the shot is not great. I'm gonna be figuring out all of this as I go, so please forgive me. Okay, without any further ado, because I've already rambled way too much for the beginning of the video. Probably some of you already clicked out and got bored. So today I would like to react to a couple of videos related to Poland and Polish culture, because if you don't know, I'm Polish, but I haven't lived in Poland for several years now, and I live in the United Kingdom, and I love to watch the videos from other YouTubers reacting to either with facts about Poland or maybe things you shouldn't do in Poland, and this is what we're gonna do today, react to a couple of those videos. So I hope you enjoy. Okay, let's get into it.
In today's video, we shall dive into some truly weird and wonderful facts about Polish people that will blow your mind. Get ready for some surprises and let's get started. Number 1, love for mushrooms. Polish people have a serious love for mushrooms. Mushroom picking is a national pastime, and it's not uncommon for families to spend weekends foraging in the forests.
Quite right, yes, and I found it a little bit strange that even in UK, and I think maybe more prevalent in some other countries, but in UK, people don't tend to go and actually pick anything because they just assume that whatever they pick is just gonna be poisonous and they're gonna get hurt. Where in Poland, we've got a massive love for mushrooms, and we've got a variety of them. You obviously can find them during the seasons in British supermarkets, but I find it funny that what is usually just referred to as mushrooms is something what we call pieczarka, and there's like just other type of mushrooms, like a little bit brown ones, which I completely forgot the name of now. And that's it, what you normally can get, where in Poland we don't call pieczarka a mushroom, we just call it pieczarka, and then we've got lots of forest mushrooms to choose from. But yes, especially during September and October, there is the best time for picking mushrooms. There is the prime time when they all sprung, is that a word? In the forests and woods, and yeah, we go to places and go and pick them. Some of them you can get even during the summer, like a little yellow ones called kurki. I always love them with the cream. You will fry them and add some cream, salt and pepper. Oh, beautiful.
Number 2, name days. In Poland, name days are often more important than birthdays. Each day of the year is associated with specific names, and people celebrate their name day with friends and family.
Yeah, so with name days, at least when I was younger, what the tendency was that kids wouldn't celebrate their name day. And by the way, I just realized I keep looking at the finder of my camera all the time. So if I'm looking funny and looking off rather than into a lens, that's why I'm getting used to the new setup. Right, tangent. So yeah, you don't tend to celebrate name days when you're under 18. With time, when we get older, I don't think we just like to be reminded that we're getting older and we're aging, so instead lots of adults are celebrating their name days instead of their birthdays. Also, why the history of the name day? I actually don't know like a true history, but what it stems from is the fact that Poland is very Christian and Catholic country, so the name days or the names in the calendar, and then that's not only one name per day, it's several of them, sometimes 2, 3, maybe more, is to do with some saints. So the rule we have in terms of like choosing your name day, because there will be more saints than one with my name. So I think my name has like 2 or 3 saints, and that means it's 3 different days. So one of them is on 22nd of February, the other one is on 4th of July. But you use or choose the name day that's closest to your birthday, so right after your birthday. So in my case, because I was born at the beginning of February, my name day is on the 22nd.
Number 3, bread obsession. Poles are obsessed with bread. They have a saying that a meal without bread is not a meal at all. Fresh bread is a staple in every Polish household.
Yes, that's true. We are obsessed with our breads. We love our breads. We've got such a variety of breads. And again, sorry, I feel like I'm dissing UK so bad, but in UK, you don't get really good bread. It is just that toasted bread. It tastes like paper. Well, I got used to it now. I like it quite enough. You can get some Polish breads in some shops, but they're not the fresh ones. They were imported most of the time, so they're not fresh ones. From my childhood, I remember having trips into the bakery in the morning with my mom, so we would pick up the fresh bread and fresh bułka, which is like a kind of a bab bun, whatever you want to call it, and I just love having just a freshly baked bread in the morning. I wouldn't say though that there is no meal without bread. It's not quite true. Lots of them would be, but dinner, normally it wouldn't be a bread in there unless it's some kind of goulash or something like that. Or soup, and we're done planning like on a 3-course meal. Then yeah, we will add bread to it to have a little bit more, something to fill you more other than soup, especially if it's a really thin soup.
Number 4, Sto Lat song. The Sto Lat song is a traditional Polish song wishing someone 100 years of good health and happiness. It's sung at birthdays, name days, and other celebrations. Well,
yeah, it's pretty much a happy birthday song. Our variation is just literally saying, I hope you live 100 years, meaning by that you're gonna stay in good health and carry on living a happy life. And then, do we sing in the other occasions than birthdays? I don't think so. Maybe occasionally, but not where I come from, not in my region or the region of Poland where I used to live.
Number 5, pickled everything. Polish people love their pickled foods. From cucumbers to cabbage, pickling is a beloved tradition that adds a tangy twist to their cuisine.
Again, that's something that British and Polish people have in common. We've got that, we like that tangy taste. When it comes to pickled stuff, and I know lots of British people love pickled stuff, and you love your salt and vinegar. Vinegar or balsamic vinegar is added to lots of meals. And historically, at least in Poland, what I know, pickling on its own, was the easy way of preserving the food. Majority of Polish people were never really rich. The meat was only, occasional. You could preserve meat, for as long as you could, but not everybody had like an super extra cooling system. Our diet is heavily vegetarian, but heavily vegetarian, can be very, very fatty. Or we've got lots of sausages and stuff like that in our menu because it's very easy to preserve and keep. And the same goes when it comes to pickled stuff. So if you ever had, just pickled cucumbers or pickled any other veg, or had pierogi with cabbage and mushroom, that's pickled or fermented, really, cabbage. So all those techniques were used essentially just to keep this food, the longevity of it, for as long as possible, because our winters could be very long and harsh, and you never knew, how good of the crop you're gonna have the next year. So preserving as much food as possible was always the key.
Number 6, Polish weddings. Polish weddings are known for their length and exuberance. They can last up to 3 days, filled with food, dancing, and of course, vodka.
Yeah, wedding in Polish culture, they could have even lasted a week or 2 weeks, I believe. Usually it would have been like a event that whole village would have been involved in. Culturally, it's quite important, and it's for us a way of, gathering together and celebrating. And I know not only in Poland that is the case, but in many, many cultures. Back in the day, there's a saying, I don't know where from exactly, where, there is the whole village that, raises your child. So again, if you are from a small village, when you do the wedding, or back in the day when you were doing a wedding, everybody would have been invited, because really there was not much fun or things to do other than hard work and working for your masters and give them what's due to them, and you were left with just enough to live on. But yeah, and because it was such a communal event, everybody wanted to get involved. As I said, the whole village would get involved. Therefore, the wedding would last even a week or two. Nowadays, it doesn't take that long. In average, I think it takes more like 2 days nowadays. I've got an example when it comes to my brother's weddings. Both of them got married a few years back, and it was like a 2-day celebration, actual wedding, with all the games and everything. And then it's something that we call poprawiny, which is like to correct. Essentially what it means is the time for groom and the bride to actually be able to get pissed, because on the first night they try not to, because there is so many games to get involved. Celebrate with the family, making sure they are being taken care of, they've got enough food and drinks and everything. In one of my previous videos I explained that in Poland we pay for every single thing when it comes to weddings. So when you go to the wedding, your food is being paid for a whole night, your alcohol is being paid for a whole night, so you don't have to go to the bar and buy anything. Everything is being paid for.
Number 7, no smiling in photos. Historically, Poles have a tendency to avoid smiling in photos. It's a tradition that dates back to when a serious demeanor was considered a sign of respect and dignity.
Well, as this lady says, historically is the case why we always have a serious face. I didn't do that kind of research, so I take her word for it. But on top of that, I think we just in general have always that resting bitch face, because we don't try to pretend that we feel what we don't feel, so we're not being extra, friendly or anything. We can be very warm, welcoming, happy and smiley once we know somebody. But in general, when you just pass Pole in Poland, most likely they're just gonna have that resting bitch face and looking like they're pissed off all the time, unhappy, which probably is also the case. But yeah, I think it's just in our nature in general.
Number 8, Marzanna tradition. Every spring, Poles celebrate the Marzanna tradition by making a straw effigy of the winter witch and throwing it into a river to welcome the arrival of spring.
Yeah. Quite right. I think a few months back I seen the video. I don't know if it was the Polish creator or not. I think it was. she was in a very funny way summarizing this tradition that women always had it bad, and in Poland to even go to that extent, we go and then literally just go and put it in the river, but the intention is that we drown it. And essentially why we're doing it is in between winter and summer. It's just, as she said, winter witch is just to drown that witch and bring the spring witch into fruition, so she can now gain the power over the world. So everything is now blooming and everything leading to the summer, so we've got good crops and everything that we're happy and fed. And top it off, obviously, it's not us adults really doing that nowadays. Kids do it at school. We would literally have a day off around 21st, is it March, I think, when the Sto Lat happened. And the kids go to any nearby river in the town or canal, which was the case in my hometown. So we would make it out of broomsticks, woods, some hay, whatever was available nowadays. Dress it, and then we will go and put in our little town canal. I don't know if that tradition is still being held.
Number 9, politeness with shoes. Polish people always take off their shoes when entering a home. It's a sign of respect and cleanliness, and guests are often offered slippers to wear inside.
Yeah, it's not even politeness, but just a sign of respect, and obviously practicality of it. Again, I mentioned that we can have really harsh winters in general, as a general rule. In Poland, we've got very, very distinctive seasons, and with each seasons, the perks come in. So lots of, mud, snow, sand, whatever it is. So we were very, very, very careful about making sure you always brush your feet or your shoes, out on the outdoor mat, and make sure you take your shoes off in the hallway immediately. In any typical household, you would normally have a cupboard with a set of different slippers to use. some could argue that you're using somebody else's slippers, so it's maybe not that hygienic. But then again, my mom always has like a set of fresh ones there, ready, hardly used ones. So yeah, it's just the practicality of it. One, you don't bring the dirt from the outside, and two, you're respecting the owner's home by not making it dirty when you walk in with your shoes and making the marks and everywhere.
Number 10, St. Andrew's Eve. Andrzejki, or St. Andrew's Eve, is a night of fortune telling in Poland. People engage in various rituals to predict their future, especially regarding love and marriage.
Yes, Andrzejki are quite big, and again, I think that like lots of the Christian events, is that the word? Gosh, it doesn't really let me think. Christian events like Christmas, Easter and everything, all of them are really based on their pagan traditions. Same with St. Andrew's. It's really a pagan tradition. On that day, we just trying to fortune tell, and again, especially focuses on, on the love and all that. So that's kind of like a equivalent of our Valentine's Day. Actually, I need to see what significance of St. Andrew's is, because I never really looked it up. But yeah, and then it's celebrated towards the end of the year. I think it's one of the last days of October. Oh no, it's in November, so it comes from 29th to 13th of November, and I was quite right. It was originally a pagan tradition, and it was even prevalent in Greece, in ancient Greece. So originally that's apparently where it started. Oh, right, okay. So also, because of that date, it's like a last day where you can actually have some proper celebrations, like with Brazil, and they are a festival before the Advent starts, which is essentially the time when people are preparing for coming of Christ. So yeah, it will be like a last occasion to have a party.
Number 11, love for tea. While Poland is known for its vodka, tea is actually the most popular beverage. Poles enjoy their tea strong and often with a slice of lemon.
Well, disclaimer on this though. So comparing British tea, like Yorkshire tea, that tea is much stronger black tea than the black tea you get in Poland. At least this is how I feel it. I can feel the difference. And we love our teas and flavored teas. So we never go with like a one flavor. We have lemon tea, raspberry tea, honey tea. Any kind of flavor you can think of, you probably will find it. So yeah, tea is big.
Number 12, carp for Christmas. At Christmas, it's traditional for Polish families to serve carp as the main dish. The preparation and cooking of carp is a key part of the holiday celebration.
Carp, yeah. Carp is a big thing, big tradition. But again, in my family, because it was just such a struggle to get your hands on carp over the Christmas period, we never had carp, but we had lots of other variations of fish dishes during our Christmas Eve, because this is where we celebrate, not on a first day of Christmas. We've got 12 dishes and all that jazz, and then for the rest of the Christmas period we just eat the leftovers, which is loads to eat anyway. But yeah, carp is the fish of choice.
13, winter sports enthusiasts. Polish people are passionate about winter sports. Skiing and snowboarding are very popular, and Poland has some great spots for winter sports enthusiasts.
Yeah, again, yeah. Down south of Poland, we've got mountains. So, gosh, what that discipline is called? You know, when the people are on skis and they fly. Like, we had Maoish doing that. Jesus, my brain is literally so switched off when it comes to hot weather, and I'm just feel like I'm sweating more and more, getting hotter. And yeah, so again, I said winter. It is nice in Poland. Like, once we have it, it can be long. We've got lots of snow. So again, as a child, we would have lots of tiny little hills in the neighborhoods, and we go down them on our sleighs and everything. It's the best thing ever. So because we do have and do get lots of snow, we celebrate it. We have fun with it.
Number 14, multilingual abilities. Many Poles are multilingual, often speaking English, German, and Russian, in addition to Polish. This linguistic ability makes them great travelers and hosts.
I don't know if it's like a generic ability per se that we, good with languages. I don't have any statistics to confirm that, but what I can say about that is the fact that because Polish is such a difficult language and less likely somebody's going to speak it ever, we obviously do learn different languages in Poland, and depending on the political situation in Poland, that will be the language we will be learning. So my brothers, that in theory are the same generation as me, but they're not. My brothers are 9 and 7 years older than me. So when it comes to my brothers, they actually had Russian or German, both at school, because these were the countries that were people we were trading the most with. You know, they are our neighbors, plus the communistic time. Where I went to school, and I'm a millennial, I was one of the first kids to actually have English at school. I think it's just essentially a necessity to know other languages, therefore we learn them. Where if you're English or American or English-speaking country, you don't necessarily go and learn it because you don't have need for it, you know. English is lingua franca nowadays.
Number 15, pierogi love. Pierogi or Polish dumplings are a beloved national dish, filled with everything from potatoes and cheese to mushrooms and meat. They are a staple at Polish tables.
Pierogi. And yes, pierogi is one of my favorite meals to have. And there's so many ways of do that. Everybody makes a different dough for that dumpling. Everybody has a different style. Some of people make them very tiny, very thin, very, you know, melting your mouth. When my mom tend to make them huge and quite thick, and so they don't fall apart. And then again, it's to do with the fact that flour is easy to preserve, as well as eggs or water. You can even make the dough for the dumpling without using an egg. All you need is just salt, water and flour. And then Poland at some point in history was even called a silo of all the crops, because we've got such a good ground to actually have lots of types of crop you can use for bread and any other products that, you know, can be made out of the flour. So, you know, it's just easy to make such a dish, and whatever leftovers you have, like a mincemeat or some of the, you know, cabbage and mushrooms and stuff like that. So it just makes sense. It's just practicality of it. And then again, once you do pierogi, you can keep them in the fridge or a freezer, and then you can either put them back into boiling water and have it later, or what my favorite way of having pierogi is just put them in the pan and make that dough nice and crispy. I really want pierogi now.
There you have it. 15 weird and wonderful facts about Polish people that are sure to blow your mind.
All right. So there you have it. So yeah, sorry I didn't manage to get to the second video, 13 things you should never do in Poland. But don't worry, we're going to catch up on this on the next one. Thank you. Bye.